discrimination as well. So that's been completed. We held a town hall session, a listening session for employees in January. We had Tim Brood come on there and share a bit about the strategic planning process so that all employees have access to that information. And we also had an individual from CAP Services speak about the programs that they have to offer, just so that our staff is aware if they're working with clients who might have needs that they are able to service there. Let's see. The Wisconsin Counties Association has their legislative exchange this week. I am not going to be attending. I did attend last year and it was very beneficial. But end of this month, I will be attending an Initiative One conference. There's 4 of us from the county that'll be going. It's a train the trainer. So we'll be able to learn the model that they taught us in our leadership transformation and then be able to bring that back and lead cohorts of that here at the county. So really excited for that coming up end of this month. I have been in conversations with the Green Lake County Administrative Coordinator, and we are proposing to move forward with providing medical examiner services for Green Lake County. Still a lot of details in the works with that, but I've been working with our medical examiner, Amanda, as well as Jason from Green Lake. So we're working on getting details of a contract together, and we'll also be presenting a reorganization so that we can move forward with providing those services for Green Lake. As part of that, if we go forward with it, it is something that is also eligible for the innovation grant. So the deadline for that grant is March 31st. So we'll be bringing the proposals to public safety and county board next month. And then we'll also be applying for that innovation grant as part of that. Let's see what else we have. I've been working a little bit with Tim Brood from UW Extension. We are starting to look at our committee structure for the county board, so he might be reaching out to some of you as well and other department heads. We were hopeful to have something through before the new board takes place in April, but I think that's going to be too rushed at this point, and we want to make sure that we're doing it properly. So he's going to spend some time getting the right individuals together so that we can evaluate the current committee structure and make some new recommendations for that maybe mid-year. So that's coming down the pipeline as well. And then just a few upcoming events to make sure everybody is aware of. We have the Employee Wellness Fair this Thursday out in the atrium here. Also Thursday in the atrium that evening from 4 to 5, we have 2 canines who have recently retired, and so they're having a little reception for them at the government center. Next week, Friday the 20th, there is another blood drive here. And I think that's everything.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for me?
I have just a quick question on the medical examiner.
So we've been with Marquette County now
We just completed 1 full year.
1 full year.
Mhm.
I think we had any savings from that combined effort between the 2 counties?
Yeah, so that contract actually was put in place after we had already approved a reorganization and additional staff for the medical examiner. So when we took on that contract, we didn't add in more staff than at that time. So anything we took in from that contract was offsetting our expenses.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions? Okay, Corp Council, does anybody have any questions, or is she coming now?
I haven't heard.
Okay, all right, well, let's hold off on that. County Clerk, Desiree.
So in your packets, I put my strategic plan. I just printed out the goals that I have just to show you, update you where I'm at with that. I did check mark off for our department at the county clerk the due date that I have completed, so that you can see that I am staying on task. The next thing that I added in there was budget report. I'm planning to report to the executive committee quarterly. This is just for the end of 2025. So I did a total budget actual year to date, and it's very broad. However, the breakdown is attached. If you have any question as to what is included in that. The county board expenditure, for example. You can look at the breakdown that I have. Does anybody have questions on it? for this strategic plan.
I don't have anything at this point.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, clerk of circuit report. She's not here. Oh, let's hear now, so we can go back to corporation council. You want to miss it?
I don't have anything that's not on the agenda.
Okay,
Sorry, I was in court. We're running behind today, so.
no problem. Okay, thank you. Treasurer.
So I have the December main correct, the December and January investment report, and then the sales tax reports. We received $182,116.31 in sales tax revenue on January 30th. So that means that we closed out 2025 with $31,110.33 more than we did last year. So that's all I have for my reports for now. We're just gearing up for the February settlement. All the municipalities are either have or are closing out their books from their collections. Thank you.
Sounds good. Any questions? Okay, Mr. Deeds, let's see, Heather here, child support. Kim.
So I wanted to report on my 2025 budget. I believe I paid all of my bills and received all my revenue, so it looks like I will be returning $8,000, little over $8,000 to the general fund. So everything looked good as far as 2025. For my strategic plan, I've been working on getting survey questions. One of the things I want to do is put a survey on the website and see if we can pull any information on like needs of the agency or what our clients need from us, or if there's any customer service pain, points that I can address. So I worked with Barry on how to set up a survey, and I've gathered information from a few other counties on what they're doing for some questions. So that's kind of where I'm at on that piece of the strategic plan. So I'm on task. We're moving forward there. And otherwise, we're just entering our tax intercept season. So I anticipate an increase in calls once people file their taxes. And if they owe arrearages to child support, often they'll just be calling and asking why and such. So that's all I have.
Okay, thanks, Kim. Okay, surveyor, Jerry.
We contracted with Martin and Isley from that we've been using for second corners for some time. They'll be doing 50 corners in 2026, and that's paid for with the Wisconsin Land Information Grant that we get every year. The last part of January was at school for 3 days for continuing education to keep my surveyor's license. There were some interesting discussions in particular about NGS, the National Geodetic Survey. They're redoing the datum for the entire United States. And ours is, for the GIS, is somewhat outdated. So every time, for instance, with the corners we contract for, the corners I do, they have to go through some lengthy calculations to get that back to that particular. Several years ago, the Department of Transportation created a different datum for Wisconsin for individual counties. So every county is just a little bit different. Now with this newest data from NGS, they create a set of tools to transform other systems to that particular data. They are not going to create a tool for Wisconsin county coordinates. And the people that started it here, DOT, is not going to either. So we're kind of looking at somewhat of a problem. Not so much for the GIS or for what I do, because we can stick with the coordinate system we have, but it could affect zoning, for instance, when we're looking at what is floodplain, what's the floodplain elevation for any given spot. There is a professor from that taught at one of the tech schools who's been working on this himself. He's done some pretty good work with this, and it may he may come up with a solution to this. But he's made it perfectly clear that he's made some strides. By the same token, he's retired. He's not sure how much he wants to work on this. So I guess we'll see in the next year or two. They're supposed to have this out mid-year this year with tools, and hopefully they will have the whole thing done by the end of the year. But it was supposed to be done in 2022. So I'm not holding my breath that they're going to get this done by the end of the year. We'll see what happens. We'll probably have to address that at some point. Doing it by hand is probably 2 pages for the calculations. And it's a different type of system than what's been there since 1927. It's not based on the same sort of things. So we'll see what happens, but that's all I have.
Did they give any indication why they're not including?
Well, basically because it's just a statewide local coordinate system. And they're saying, you know, we're not going to go through this to make a tool set for just Wisconsin or just for their counties. And DOT, the people that had created that system back a number of years ago, one of them has passed away, and the other one has long since retired and doesn't want to touch it. So the new system is a little different, where we're not looking at yearly or every 5 or 10 years shift in the planet with the tectonic plates. We're looking at the system NGS is creating is that it's very time sensitive, because they'll be looking at how that changes from month to month or from week to week. So I think their whole thought is we're trying to do a datum that will hold up, that we won't have to redo every so often. For instance, right now you've got national datum that was 1927. You have one that was 1983. Then you had a 91 version of 83, and then a 97 version, and on and on. Up to the last one was 2011. So I think that that's what their reasoning is, that they want to create a datum that doesn't have to be constantly changed. By the same token, it does have to be changed. The datum itself doesn't, but how you approach it has to be changed depending on the time frequency of when you're doing it. So and we're also hoping that the people, and for instance, that have the ArcGIS, that is our mapping for the GIS, they have some of those tools in there. The hope is that they will create some, because they recognize Wisconsin's county coordinates. So we're hoping that they'll have some things in there as well. But nobody's promising anything at this point.
All right.
That's all I have.
Okay. Thank you, Jerry. Does anybody else have any questions? No. Okay. Thank you. Finance, Sarah.
As Megan mentioned, January is a very busy month. We'll continue with our 2 fiscal years open through the end of this month. So any of the revenues that come into the treasurer's office, I have to manually record to post back to 2025, as well as the 2 years of bills. 1099s went out at the end of January. I've been working with the auditors, our main auditors, as well as the indirect cost auditor in preparation for those upcoming audits. I know I need to start working on the preparation and the budget timeline with the CIP documents for 2027, which will go out at the end of this month as well. And then you do have a copy of where we're kind of at right now for 2025. I have some notes on the side that you'll see if there is an overage. Most of it is grant dollars that are still going to be coming in, and anything that's not received by the end of February, I will do an accrual entry for to account for that money, so that when it comes in June or July, it'll already be recorded as part of our $25. So there's, most of it's grant dollars, but there is still some revenue trickling in as well.
Yeah, it seems like in a lot, there's grant dollars that's thrown up. I mean, are there any of those grant dollars that are suspect? Or are they all pretty much set in stone? Because at this point, there's some that we heard the other night where may not.
I think there may be one emergency management grant that we know that might not come in, but they're not gonna decide until October, which I don't know how that's helpful for our 25 books, because that's when they're gonna actually address 25, which by that point, we're already gonna be halfway through 26 and getting ready to adopt the 27 budget. So that's the only one that I've heard of that is hit or miss. But the rest should all be on track to receive.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Sarah? Okay. IT.
I'll have a budget report for the next month's meeting, to get everything caught up. And I ordered a few computers. I don't have very many computers to replace this year, but we ordered those. But I did find out at the end of this month, prices are going up 20 to 30%. And potentially another 20 to 30% at the end of March because of all of the AI data centers that are being put in across the country and whatnot. It's putting it's making the supply and demand go up. So processors and memory are increasing in price. So it's going to be a substantial increase. We don't have a lot to replace this year, which is good, but that could potentially cause problems in the upcoming years as that comes along. I did put in for the cybersecurity grant to add some additional security tools. That just closed up a week or so ago, so that's in review now. I haven't heard anything back from that yet, so I'll keep updating on that as well.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? All right, and HR is not here.
I see Deb is online.
Okay.
Hi, I don't have anything new to report. I didn't hear all of Megan's report, but if you have any questions on HR things, I will try to answer.
Okay, anybody have any questions for Deb?
It's not at this time. Thanks, Deb.
Thank you.
Okay, so we don't have any unfinished business. New business, a discussion, possible action on funds in their restricted account.
So we talked a couple of months ago about we have some money that has been sitting in this account that is restricted to go towards drug and alcohol education in the schools. It has not been utilized since the schools took over using different resources other than the sheriff's department as a school liaison officer. I did reach out to all the schools, and I see that on your sheet, there is nothing listed for Tri-County. Their principal and guidance counselor did get back to me and indicate that they are in the process of reevaluating what programs they will have. They've been mainly doing it in their health class, but they do have a new school liaison officer with the retirement of Chief Fensky in Plainfield. And so they are working to shore all of that up, but would have some use for it. Both our public health and human services department are not currently doing any programming in the school because that was a question that was asked. So each of the schools does have, some programming and could use some additional funds towards like their curriculum or drug and alcohol education. The amount of money that we have in that account is 10,898.72. If you simply divided that between the 4 different school districts, in the county, that's $2,724.68 per school. So I guess the question is how do you want to go about that? What do you want to do with that money? A lot of it came from donations to the DARE program, either through private citizens or when they had a DARE event, the parents donating money towards those events. All of the curriculum that we had and like the swag has been distributed to the schools already, in part because the curriculum is going to be outdated at the end of this school year. DARE itself is restructuring and having a new program starting in the 26-27 school year. So anything that we had would no longer be beneficial. And so we did distribute all of that already to the schools. And so now it's just, what do you want to do with this money?
Yeah, it'd be hard to put one school against the other and say they need it more than the other, but it'd probably be fair to just divide it up. And I see Coloma as part of Westfield.
Yes.
So it'd be like, yeah, that'd be the 4 schools. And I guess my concern is that human services would be in need of that, but they aren't directly doing anything.
The programs that they have are operating under different youth justice grants, and those are things that we had started before. They do run like a program for kids who are caught with nicotine or vaping in the schools that coincides with law enforcement's efforts on that. They're statutorily required to offer the underage drinking program. So if somebody gets an underage drinking ticket, you're eligible to take that program in order to save your driver's license. But that's all like mandated by the state in a program that we've had for years. So they're not going out into the schools and doing anything currently with those education type pieces. So it looks like the schools are handling it mostly through their health classes, and then some with their individual school liaison officers through Wild Rose and Watchoma, particularly. Westfield understands that the Coloma school has been lacking, and they need to do a better job beefing that up after the county stopped really going to that school district. I do know that Deputy Kashabuski has been assisting somewhat in the Coloma Elementary School while he's on duty for Coloma through our contract with Coloma. So they were going to reach out to him to see if he would be able to assist. And they have a program in their Westfield elementaries that they thought that they could move up to the Coloma one. So I think all of the schools are, doing the education piece now on their own. But that's kind of where we're at.
Okay, how many grades are there in Coloma?
I think it's K through 6.
Yeah, I think we heard somebody the other day say that at 4th grade is kind of when they start hitting that, so yeah, it makes sense that they would be. So is there any thoughts about how to distribute this money? Since it was donated money, I guess my thought would be that it's probably fair is just to divide it up between the 4 ways. Yeah.
Yeah, either 4 ways or by capita.
Yeah. All schools are almost the same size, and it doesn't matter so much, but.
So anyone want to make a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion to split that 4 ways.
Okay, so a motion's been made to split it 4 ways by Peterson, second by Kirschner. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So that passes. B, discussion possible action to set values on tax foreclosed property.
Right. Barry's queuing up the screen also. The very first property is in the town of Oasis. It's 0.8 acres. It's a narrow strip of land. I don't know if at one point it was a vacated road. I maybe recall prior tax lister finding this parcel. Maybe it should have been transferred years back, but within the legal description, it wasn't. But the assessor has a value of $550. Total delinquent with interest and penalty is $174.95. Just something we have to keep in mind, it is that narrow strip. There are several houses or properties back there. I think maybe 5 of them have a recorded easement, but not all of them do. But I do know that there is somebody that's interested in purchasing the property that owns land towards the end of the road. So I don't know if you'd want to set the minimum value at the assessed value of 550, and we can work out those details with the buyer.
I would guess it's too narrow and to do anything else really with.
At one point, we had thought maybe we could deed the property to the adjoining landowners. But I guess we will just have to see how this goes, and we can always bring it back.
All right. So you want to take them, one at a time here then? Okay, so what's your thoughts on that?
Was that the actual driveway to all those
Pretty
properties?
much, yes.
So if one person buys it, is that limited access to it, or how does that work?
Well, there's still 5, I think, parcels that have an easement, but I think the person that was wanting to buy it, I think he would allow an easement back so the other properties aren't landlocked, but again, it's something that we would have to take into account when we're accepting a bid.
So I think maybe it would ever come up as road clear or something like
Yeah.
that, but they'd have to work that out, I guess.
Yes.
Can I jump in? You have what, about 15 properties, Jesse? So I would say in the past, we would like keep a running list of the value you want to set for each property and then just do one motion at the end to accept the price on all of those.
So, the assessed value is $550. Does everybody feel that is fair?
I know where the road is at, and yeah, I can. Yeah, I guess.
Okay, all right. So, yeah, consensus is $550. Okay,
The next one is in my county. The address is W12705 Akron Ave. Acreage is 1.94. Total due with interest and penalty is $27,632.99. Or I'm sorry, that's with the interest and penalty. Total due is $50,427.84. Assessed value is $152,600. We have a couple of pictures in the packet.
so it's kind of messy, but it doesn't look
Structurally, I think.
structurally.
Yep.
Yeah. And the garage and everything.
Yes.
Mhm.
I'm not sure it's worth $152,000, the assessed value of the condition that it's in. I'm not sure we could get that.
Yeah, I would doubt if we would get it too, but. But our total we have to cover is 50,427.
Right.
Yes.
So,
Ruthie, where is this? I mean, get me in the area. Some people live around it. It looks familiar.
This was part of the Reed Brothers Empire Farms.
That's right. Okay, now I know where we're at. Yep. I thought it looked familiar.
and the way this works then is if we collect it, the additional money goes back to the owner, right? Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Jesse, do you have, aside from the total due there, which is the taxes and interest and penalty, do you also have record of the fees and such that we would be able to retain above that?
Right around on average, like $1,000. So I don't have it included in here, but.
Average $1,000 per property? Okay,
In this case, people, 52,000 by the time it's done.
Yes.
15, yep.
2 acres.
Yeah. It's hard to,
It is, I mean, it's almost 2 acres. I think, I know Mike was in there too, but it's pretty structurally sound in the way that properties are selling.
I don't know if you'd want to try 100,000, 75, I'm not quite sure.
I was thinking about.
Oh,
Yeah. So, all right, we'll write that down. That's what I would agree with.
all right.
Next is town of Warren.
1.81 acres vacant land, total due $160.55, assessed value 1,720. So again, you added in $1,000 roughly for expenses.
You know, I see on this one, there's 2 landowners that connect to it. Do we ever reach out to them and say,
We do, yes.
because I can't imagine why one of those
Wouldn't scoop it up.
yeah, just to add it to their property, but they haven't, they wanted to, or.
They haven't reached out yet.
Oh, they haven't.
We will, once we have it back and we set
The value, we will send a letter to them, letting them know that it's available.
Okay. And it's almost 2 acres.
I would guess the assessed values.
That's right, put that.
Yeah. I would,
Right there.
Yes.
Topography, do we know how much of that is wetlands?
No, I don't.
But if it's,
I'm looking at that map, it looks like about 3/4 of that property is gonna be wetlands.
it probably is. I would agree with that. I would still think it's.
We call it hunting land.
yeah, well, it comes out, you can see on the added pictures that it comes out to road level. So there's a part of it but I don't know if it's wide enough to.
I guess I don't know if the dimensions are wide enough to build on.
Add value to the joint landowner though.
Yeah, that's my thought. Yeah, that's value.
The next is in the village of Paloma, again, vacant land, it's 0.568 acres. I'll break this one down, total taxes, $1,939.03. Delinquent specials, $6,188.18. Interest and penalty, $10,244.80. The total due is $18,372.11. Assessed values at $9,900.
No, these lines can't be.
It's like the GIS mapping is. off
Yeah,
a little bit.
okay, that's, I thought it cuts right there, and I saw that in a couple.
Yes.
Okay, just a little skew there. Okay,
So I think it was maybe water sewer that the village put in and it's causing those delinquent specials.
So it doesn't include that bill.
No.
And then the next,
one is the two
Correct.
joining it, so I would guess somebody would maybe look at the whole thing there too. And those,
yeah, all of them were upside down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Due to the specials.
Yeah.
So what special is that?
Water, sewer, probably.
Okay, so we have a assessed value of about 30,000 or 30,000 of those. And we. On all properties, about 30,000.
It's for the Becker and
Yeah.
the Ash properties.
yeah, and we're,
It's about 50.
water sewer.
All right, by, but. I guess there again, I think the assessed value is where I go with them, when they go less than that.
Yeah, is the.
Can we get you to speak into the microphone so we can hear what you're saying?
Oh,
Please.
sorry, Jimmy, didn't see this. Okay,
Yeah, I just leave it at the assessed value. That's what I would do.
I guess I don't really know, I mean. The area that much, so assessed value. What do you think of that part?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I don't know how we can go more than that, cause they will look at the assessed value, so. Yeah. So 9,900 on that.
Some of the places prime real estate, but. Doesn't look like there's anything built out of those other parcels around there either.
No,
Like I said, the only thing is somebody could pick up over or about 2 acres if they buy both or all of them.
all three of them together.
Right. Yeah, I'm good with that, John.
Okay, so 9,900 and that, so then the next one's pretty much the same
Same thing,
story there.
19,1.
And that assessed value is 19,1.
So all three lots value is about 30.
Right, the next one is in the village of Hancock. It's 0.2 acres. Address is 126 South Main Street, so it looks like an old storefront. Total due is $24,306.52. Just over 6,000 of that is taxes, 4,600 is specials, delinquent specials, and then over 13,000 in interest and penalty. The total assessed value is 20,600. And then you can see that we've got pictures. Barry, if you keep going, yep. Pretty rough shape.
Yeah. It's- Foundation's about the only good thing.
Yes.
That isn't even any good.
So again, what you thought assessed value is right in town?
Pretty narrow lots in town there, but I don't know if either the sides would be willing to purchase it, yeah.
Not even sure we get 20,000 for it.
Well, that's what I was gonna tell you, the whole soffit and everything. Can you hear me now, Gene? Yeah. The soffit and everything fell off and they had to, the village had to go and cut it all off and everything like that at their expense, you know, because it was hanging and they had ropes around it. I mean,
And it looks like the roof is, or the ceiling is caving in.
yeah. Would I give 20,000 for it? No,
It'd almost be better as a bare lot,
exactly.
you know, but I don't know, tearing it down, you're not in that business anymore, you were.
I mean,
For this particular property.
Maybe we can try it at the assessed value.
Just see what happens with it.
Okay. The thoughts?
Right. The next one is in the village of Hancock also. The address is 411 North Main Street. It's 0.30 acres. Total delinquent taxes, $8,080.73. Delinquent specials, $1,608.29. Interest and penalty is just over 8,700. Total due, $18,448.26. Assessed value, $56,600. But you can also see that this house is in.
I think that's being generous on that
Yes.
too, yeah.
It's a mobile home with an addition on it.
Yes.
I think you give that away.
Well, our total due is 18,448, so even like 20,000 or 25,000 might be enough to at least get it sold. So what is your thought?
I would say you go with 20,000.
20,000.
Yep.
All right, the next one is 3 parcels that will be selling together in the village of Hancock. Total acreage, 1.30 acres, vacant land. Total delinquent taxes, $2,004.32. Interest and penalty, $1,191.69. Total due, $3,196.01. Assessed value, 19,500.
It must be out of the city, so it's
Yes.
not okay.
I certainly would say that's worth the assessed value.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say that's value on that.
Thank you.
Another one in the village of Hancock.
0.20 acres, property address 230 East North Lake Street, Hancock. Total delinquent taxes, $4,020.38. Delinquent specials, $1,372.59. Interest and penalty is just over 3,200, which brings the total due to $8,652.15. And it has an assessed value of 41,000.
So from the outside, the structure looked a little bit better on this one maybe, but yeah.
Inside needs work, but
Yes.
still seems structurally sound.
I don't know.
It is a special sign.
Oh, okay.
Well, the siding on there, I can tell you is asbestos, you know, that, so that would be, somebody's gonna say something about that, if they were gonna make an offer on it, I'm sure.
Well, 8,600 is all we have to do to get, or 9,600 probably was the charges. So about 10,000 is all we need out of it.
But,
The value may be a little bit more than that too. I don't know the neighborhood there.
We want to split it in half.
Right?
20,000 then.
20,000.
All right, next property, again, in the 0.8 acres, property address 314 East School Street.
Delinquent taxes, $3,649.11. Delinquent specials, $2,400.91. Interest and penalty, $3,069.41. Total due, $9,119.43. Total assessed value, $50,400.
Previous one.
Yeah, so, yeah.
So we could start citing on it.
Plus 25. Then, yeah. So that's your thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
25.
Yes. Right, moving on to the village of Lorville. We have a property that's vacant land. It's 2.55 acres. Total delinquent taxes, $2,179.47. Interest and penalty, $2,271.03. Total due, $4,450.50, and assessed value is $22,000.
what is the strip in front of it there?
Is that one we used before?
I'm not exactly sure.
It doesn't come right up to a road, does it? Or does it on?
Bannerman Trail.
Yeah, I think that's part of
I
it.
think it's part of the Bannerman Trail.
Well, that's part of the Bannerman Trail. I would almost think it's worth the assessed value, or at least try on it.
Yep, I'm okay with
All right, next one in the village of Lorville, it's 0.336 acres. Address is 421 Lorville Boulevard. Total delinquent taxes, $2,784.68. Delinquent specials, $6,408.50. Interest and penalty, $7,070.73. Total due, $16,263.91. And it does have an assessed value of $69,900.
That is very generous.
Yeah.
There's a lot of.
Third of an acre.
A third of an acre.
Just under 18,000 was the.
So is the whole thing just a trailer or is there an addition on it?
I believe it's a trailer.
Just a mobile home, so it is.
Last picture here, what is that structure?
That's the back of it, I believe.
That's where the water, I think they had a water heater and they needed another one, the way it looks to me.
That's after the mobile home.
Yeah, but siding is,
All coming off and stuff, yeah, it's.
I think, I don't know who's on either side, but that would be almost a thing you'd want to just get rid of it and add it onto yours, so probably the value of the land, yeah, yeah.
The home was not good.
Yeah. So around 18,000 there then.
Next is Village of Oroville. It's 0.336 acres, address is 247 Lowerville Boulevard. Total delinquent taxes, $1,171.40. Interest and penalty, $585.55. Total due, $1,756.95. And it has an assessed value of $32,200.
I didn't see pictures from inside on this, but
I don't know if Mike can give some insight on that.
On part inside.
Was it
Yeah,
like the same kind of thing?
did not want to send my guys in there.
Okay.
So another one of the homes not salvageable.
It's third of an acre. Yeah. The old building may be worth more.
I mean, it does have,
You know, gas hookups and things like that, which is, I mean, that's.
Beneficial for a buyer.
Yeah, the property is probably worth more than what we got into.
mhm.
Just, I mean, just a vacant lots for $5,000.
Should we go with that at 5?
All right, next one in the village of Red Granite, 0.73 acres. The address is 201 Wood Street. Total delinquent taxes, $8,437.73. Delinquent specials, $4,421.69. Interest and penalty, just over $6,900. So we'll do $19,803.04. And assessed value, $113,000.
Yeah, I thought this looked a little solid.
It really does.
Yeah, and it's a nice open area there. I think the set value would probably be correct on that.
That your thoughts too?
What do you think, Mark?
Right. The next one, we're just holding off due to the eviction process, so we'll be bringing that back. The next page is 0.286 acres. The address is 116 Washington Street, Red Granite. Total delinquent taxes, $8,710.70. Delinquent specials, $2,883.85. Interest and penalty, $12,808.58. Total due, $24,403.13. And assessed value is $26,500. I mean, there are a couple pictures there. I know the health department issued a condemnation notice.
That's pretty rough.
It is.
Yeah. So it'd be like 25.5 then.
And last but not least, city of Watoma, we have property that's 0.266 acres. The address is 359 South Oxford Street. This would be across from Likeness Funeral Home. Total delinquent taxes, $6,255.84. Delinquent specials are $32,296.52. And that was because in 2020, they had a special assessment. I guess there was a water leak. So she had a large bill that was added to the tax bill. Interest and penalty, just over 29, almost 30,000. Total due, $68,408.95. And the total assessed value is 56,500. I think the house structurally is okay, but it's a mess. It's a mess. Yes.
We're a little more cleaned up. It might be almost worth trying to get what we have into it.
Yes.
Certainly in a good area.
Let's try to go for half on that.
Go for half of it, so. Yeah. Like I said, yeah, I would look at that.
So what's the process if this stuff doesn't sell?
You have to publish it, and then we can't accept less than the minimum bid for the first go round. After after the second month, we can accept less depending on how much the bid is and how much is owed. So I know that we have a procedure in place for that. Do you remember the percentage?
There's a formula in place for the second go around. If there's no bids coming in that meets your minimum, that it has to be a certain percentage of what's owed that can be then accepted by the county clerk without coming back. And then if that still doesn't work, then we would bring it back to set a new price.
It'd just be nice to get them off of our books if we can.
That last one, I didn't hear it.
How much do we ask for?
25? Okay.
Well, Bart had said half,
Well,
so it'd be a little bit more than that.
well,
56 would be 23.
Something 23,250.
23,250 is half of it. Sure.
56, it would be
No.
28.
No, 28,250. Yeah, 28,250. We have. Okay, so then you want a motion as a group?
Yes.
Okay, I would look for a motion then to accept the prices that we placed on these Philco properties at the values we stated. Okay, one second. Okay, motion by Kirschner, second by Peterson. Any other discussion? All in favor? Opposed? All right, so those are the values. Very good.
Okay.
Discussion possible action on elected officials' wages for the next 4-year term, sheriff and clerk of courts. Megan, give us.
Yep, so I handed out some data and a proposal, so just for your information, the wages for elected officials need to be set prior to the first day for taking out nomination papers. For sheriff and clerk of courts, that's gonna begin April 15th. So we do have a little bit of time here, we don't have to approve them this month necessarily, but they do need to be to the county board for approval by March so that we meet that deadline before they start circulating nomination papers. Per statute, we're required to set the 4-year term, so that's 27, 28, 29, and 30. Those have to be set ahead of time, so those can't be adjusted midterm. The data that I put together, I have a couple of different comparables there. The first one being Adams, Marquette, and Green Lake. Those are ones that we have used historically for comps for our elected officials. We used those when setting the wages in 2022 as well as 2024. I did other counties with similar sized population. And I also took some statewide averages and medians. And then as well as for clerk of courts, the other comps that I used were other counties that also have 2 judges similar to us, because that equates to same amount of courtrooms and similar staffing sizes and such. So I listed on there what we have for our 2026 wages, which obviously were already set from their prior resolution. All counties in Wisconsin are going through the same process right now, so there is pretty limited data going past 2026 at this point. Some have started to set theirs. I've gathered proposals from some, but a lot of them are not set yet. So I looked at averages of where these positions stand for 2026, and then kind of look from there to see if we are in line. The data shows we are in line with these other comps, depending on no matter which way you look at those, we're fairly in line with those. Again, I have a few proposals from other counties. I do have Green Lakes and Adams proposals in there. Marquette does not have a proposal yet at this point. They started talking about it this month, but won't have a proposal yet until next month. So just a few different considerations with these. I did get Sheriff Solke's permission to share that he is not intending to run next year. He did indicate that we could potentially look at reducing that wage. I would caution you on that because just a reminder, these wages obviously are set before we know who is running for these positions, and elected official salaries really do not take into account tenure. Because you never know necessarily at this point who could be in that position. I will say some counties have taken a look at that when they know they have somebody retiring, that they will take that opportunity and cut that wage. But I don't know that that's necessarily best practice because again, at any point you could have somebody running against an incumbent. So you really can't take account for years of service in that position. The recommendations that I put forth are for the 4-year term, 0% increase for sheriff for next year and a 3% for clerk of court. And then the following years for both positions, a 3%, 2% and 2% for the 4-year term. The reason I put that recommendation forth is again, looking at where we're at in 2026 and comparing, we are in line with those similar comps that I shared. 3% for the next 2 years is consistent with what we already set for the the county clerk, register of deeds and treasurer's positions. So those each have a 3% increase in 27 and 28. And then the 2% for an estimated COLA thereafter. I did go with the 0% for the sheriffs, not because we will likely have a new sheriff next term, but because of the pending removal of the 911 oversight, which is going to the full county board this month. So depending upon that adoption of that 911 reorg, that could potentially have some bearing on changing that as well. But that's the reason that I did the flat increase for sheriff for next year.
Along with us too, comparable to the other counties is sort of what we did with the wage study as well, kind of tried to shoot for the middle and not, be.
Correct.
you know,
Yep.
So
Yep. And those percentage increases over the 4-year terms keeps us in that same line that we've been with Adams, Marquette, Green Lake. We're not the highest, we're not the lowest.
what are your thoughts?
I think it makes sense.
The increases make sense with cost of living, wages and inflation. Hopefully it stays
Consistent at 2 or 3%, so I think the numbers are fair.
I do too. I'd look for a proposal then to accept the elected officials' wages for the next 4 years for the term of sheriff and clerk of court.
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion by Peterson,
Second.
second by Kirschner. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So the motion passes. Okay, D, discussion possible action on Wapaka Street property listing.
Okay, so, we have that property listed with the realtor. We initially got one very lowball offer right away, and then nothing since then. Since that time, Nicole has, reduced the price slightly. I think her price reduction was like $500 just to, make it fresh again. But I asked her if she had any, updates on it. She said she hasn't really had anybody, contact her. I did have, she wasn't able to be here today, but she said that she's not had a lot of updates. She hasn't really had anyone new reach out lately. We did have a contact from, the individual who had worked with the city of Wautoma doing some development over, by the old Chapco, in that area. He was going to try to get me some type of plan just to kind of show you what he might do there before today's date, but I don't have that. In addition, prior to us even listing it, we had some conversations with the gentleman who had done a development in Wild Rose for like senior living apartments.
who had been interested in something. So I guess the question now is, do you want Nicole to continue to try to market this? She said that if you change directions and you wanted to do something else, she would assist us in any way possible, and she wouldn't charge us for removing the listing or anything like that. But so I guess because it's been a while and I know that we want to get it back on the tax roll, I didn't know if you wanted me to like we had at one time talked about putting out like an RFP to have somebody come and develop it, and then we weren't really interested in doing that. The city hasn't really taken a firm stance. They would like it to be housing, but they're not firm on whether it should be multifamily, single family, apartments, duplexes, just any type of housing is really what Tommy has indicated that the city would be looking to do there. So I don't know what your thoughts are. I think that a couple of the people who have expressed some interest in doing it are not wanting to pay the full price. They're wanting a break on the land, then to come in and do some type of development. So I thought that this would be a good time for us to talk about it again, because it's been a few months, and just kind of see where your thoughts were.
I guess I would like to see, like, as it warms up, maybe there'd be more interest, you know. That's my thought.
That's what I was gonna say. It's gonna ask the gentleman in the back there what his thoughts were. Yeah, as far as building on a vacant lot, is this the right time to change directions, or do you think we should hang on to it for a little bit longer since spring is coming?
Mark Kamer is a building inspector, and this lot has a lot of potential. It's what, 1.3 acres-ish. I don't know what it costs to split it. My recommendation would be to split it into 5 parcels. Talk to Habitat Humanity.
It's not big enough for 5 parcels according to the city.
Based on 4.
I think it was 4, yeah.
Split it into 4 parcels, see what Habitat Humanity would do with it. When we're looking for housing in Marshfield, if Habitat could find a lot for under 10,000, I mean, they were all over it. And they did nice work, you know, the people are involved, they built nice houses. The area fits that type of house, you know, 12, 1,300 square foot ranch, 2-car garage, giving people an opportunity. And I think you get 10,000 easy for the lots. You might have to hold on to them for a little while because they only build usually 1 house a year, but I don't know. That's up to you.
I think I just soon sit on it and, you know, wait till spring with, you know, weather change, maybe be more people around, maybe someone be interested in it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't give it away. I think it's worth a lot more than 25,000.
Yeah.
It's a good, clear piece of property.
It is, and all the work they did on that road, you know, they've got new sewer and everything. Yeah.
There's one hookup.
Keep in mind too, we have the YMCA that, you know, is gonna be finishing up there.
Correct.
You know, that's gonna spur up a lot of activity in the area.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's why I think you sit on it for right now.
Oh, I'll let Nicole to keep moving forward.
Yeah. Okay, E, discussion possible action on proposal to use property acquired by tax deed to meet DHS needs for client housing.
Okay, so I have Kendall Eastman here with me. She is a member of our crisis team and is familiar with the client that we're talking about, has been involved with the department for several years, and is now under guardianship and protective services. Has a past eviction on his record from low income housing, so now is banned from that. Has mental health issues, and so basically, once you are evicted from low income housing, you're not eligible to reapply for low income housing for 20 years. The guardian did try to appeal that eviction based upon that he was actively psychotic at the time, and now is like, you know, is taking his medications, is in treatment, is doing better. The appeal was denied. We currently have him in some housing, but there is some concern that he may be evicted from that housing in the relatively near future. And so really trying to brainstorm, like, what do we do with this person who is now the responsibility of the county because of his guardianship and protective placement, early 40s. So for a significant period of time, this is going to happen.
One of the things is that, so he gets about $800 a month in SSI. It doesn't have any other income. We're hoping to be able to give him, you know, some limited employment, but that has not panned out yet. When you look at placing somebody in assisted living type placement or a community-based residential facility, a lot of times when they're under guardianship and protective placement, there is also a physical disability, and then they qualify for family care. So family care is a state program that assists with housing costs for people that don't have any other place to live. Unfortunately, one of the drawbacks to family care is that they do not serve people who only have a mental illness diagnosis. So you have to also have a physical disability type thing. And so we have had, you know, several people where they don't qualify for family care. We've been able to find other types of placements for them, or they have family members or something like that. This person, we're kind of running out of options. And so one of the things that we had talked about as a treatment team was, would there be a possibility in taking one of these places that came up on tax deed and refurbishing it, or, you know, at least setting it up? It doesn't have to be glamorous, it just has to be safe, to then have a place to house this person, because we really can't have him mentally ill on the streets, right? He can't be homeless. And so I know that it would keep one of the properties off of the tax roll and you wouldn't be getting that tax income. But if the county was then ordered to place him in, say, a residential, a home or a group home or something like that, that would be money out of our pocket every month to pay for that placement. So in your packet, Claire had put together some information about what it costs for a placement type thing. I know in the packet we had talked about, you know, using potentially one of the Lauraville properties. But that was when I had met with the treasurer's office prior to going out to like secure the properties and know what kind of condition they were in. They don't really appear to be an option. And so what we're here today to ask for from this committee is a blessing to move forward and work with Human Services, Mike and Facilities and the Treasurer's Department to see if one of these properties might be appropriate to house somebody in it, and then come up with like a formal plan, like what that would entail, as far as us becoming landlords, and you know, how that would work. The Guardian right now is, you know, could set up a budget to pay for some of it. They would continue to apply for things like food share, energy assistance to help pay for some of the utility bills. But right now she is actually paying, she's one of our corporate guardians and she's really good. She's paying out of her own pocket to help support this person, which is completely above and beyond and not required by statute, and not something that I think should continue, because that's not her job to financially support her wards. Also, if he becomes homeless, she's going to resign because she doesn't feel safe being in charge of a person who doesn't have a home. And because of the court order, we really can't let him be homeless. And we're kind of looking at something that would be safe for the client, but also fiscally responsible for the county. So we're not paying out thousands of dollars a month in order to support a residential placement. We also had his psychiatric care team do a referral for us to see like a neuropsychologist to see if there's anything that we missed that can then maybe qualify him for family care. We do know that there was a brain injury at one point in time, but we're not really sure if that is something that would meet the definition under family care without more information for the doctors. And so, you know, we're taking all routes to try to see what the options are. And so I don't need you to like say, yes, that you can have this house today. I just kind of need you to say, it's okay for us to continue to explore it with all the departments, to see if it's something, and with, of course, with Megan as well, to see if it's something that would be appropriate.
I saw in your,
right up before that, he's capable of paying $400 a month, is that? So
Yeah.
it'd be like 6,000 a year, or 4,800 a year, or whatever on that, so, and then, Kendall, is he able to live alone? I mean, if we do this, is he
I mean, we're gonna do that, you know, you need to work on a house and fix it up if he's not capable of living, so.
Yeah, he's able to live alone. He also has a treatment team. And because he is protectively placed, state statute requires us to see him once a year. Ruth requires us to see him twice a year. And that's really done to make sure that any individual who is protectively placed does not fall through the cracks of our system. So I would say yes.
And because we have substantial history with him and a good relationship with his guardian, we were the landlord, we would be seeing him more often than just what's statutorily required. There would have to be, you know, a lease, there would have to be ground rules about it, you know, like we've had problems in the past where like we think he's gonna be evicted because we believe that there's damage in the current place that he is residing during a period of time where he might not have been, where he might have had an episode. When he tends to not let Kendall into his place, usually that means there's something that's not quite right. But so we're,
You know, we'd have to set up parameters and we know that and,
I'm guessing then this too would have to be furnished with appliances and everything then too.
potentially, but we also have had a lot of people who in the past have like donated things for clients and we have a network for that kind of thing to try to do. He does have, you know, some family that might be willing to assist in some of it. So there's a lot to piece together yet. But before we went too far coming up with a plan, we wanted to know if it was something that you would even consider. Cause it's kind of outside of what we've done in the past.
Well, the proposals, I don't know if you guys saw it, but one was like for 70,000.
So Trempealeau County, which is a CBRF, would cost the county $70,560 a year.
And then the other, LEF.
LEF, which is located in Watoma, that is a group home, that would be $48,000 a year. And that, again, to like, LEF is a great resource that we have here and is consistently full. So those numbers just kind of show what that may look like.
Long term.
That's correct.
Right, so this is not like something that you can like institutionalize a person for. And we just had to place somebody at Winnebago who we're working very hard to get out of Winnebago. It's a youth and Winnebago is saying that they're medically stable and they need to like leave. We're working hard on getting that person into a different type of residential facility because of behavioral and cognitive things, not really safe to return to the community at this time. But if MA doesn't pay for it because he's medically stable now, it's $1,700 a day now for Winnebago. So that's not an option either. And they won't take someone like this client that we're talking about unless they're in the middle of some type of psychotic break and need that medical stability.
Well, I would think with estimates of what it would take to get a place livable and everything else, you could come up with a pretty clear cut. You know, could see where our advantage would be to the county as to what it's gonna cost us as to what.
Property would be, you know, I would think that those numbers should be able
I think it makes sense to explore that.
to explore it. I do too, yeah,
Okay.
I think it does.
Perfect, then we will work with everybody and then bring back something a little bit more solid than we have.
That sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, with that, I would look for a motion for review, approval of addenda, line item transfers and check register. Moved by Kirschner, second by Peterson. Any discussion? All in favor? All right, and the only other item is the adjournment. Make motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Peterson, second by Kirschner. So we're, thank you.